श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयम् करुणालयम् नमामि भगवत्पाद शङ्करम् लोकशङ्करम् सदाशिवसमारम्भाम् शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्ताम् वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम् वसुदेवसुतम् देवम् कंसचाणूरमर्दनम् देवकी परमानन्दम् कृष्णम् वन्दे जगद्गुरुम्. With the abundant blessings of our Acharya Swamiji, we are continuing with our study of Srimad Bhagavad Gita with special emphasis on the Bhashyam, commentary of Sri Adi Shankara Bhagavad Pada. We are in chapter 18, Moksha Sannyasa Yoga. Moksha through sannyasa, abandoning all karmas, which has been the subject steadily throughout all the earlier chapters. Abandoning all the karmas and attaining moksha. Moksha through sannyasa. So, abandoning karmas, that subject was taken up in the first 4 shlokas by Bhagavan. He said some people have given certain opinions. Some people say all karmas should be abandoned. Some people say yajna, dana and tapas should not be abandoned. Some people say desire-ridden kamya karmas should only be abandoned. Some people say you can do any karma as long as you abandon the fruit, relinquish the fruit of the karma. So he gave different opinions, and finally he said, my final view, you please listen. This is the final correct view. निश्चयं शृणु मे तत्र त्यागे भरत सत्तम त्यागो हि पुरुष व्याघ्र त्रिविधः संप्रकीर्तितः. Tyaga is threefold. Sannyasa and Tyaga, Bhagavan is using as if they are paryayavachi, meaning the same. Though there is subtle difference which we saw last time. Tyaga generally is associated with abandoning the fruits, relinquishing the fruits of karmas. Sannyasa is abandoning the karmas themselves. But in this context, he is talking about Tyaga. And that Tyaga is threefold, he says. Now he is going to give us his final view. Next sloka, sloka 5.
यज्ञदानतपः कर्म न त्याज्यं कार्यमेव तत् यज्ञो दानं तपश्चैव पावनानि मनीषिणाम्.
Now he is giving his final view, and this has been explained in detail by Shankara, which we saw in our earlier lecture, that all this discussion pertains to karma yogis, those who cannot abandon karma. Those who can abandon karma and take to jnana yoga, the path of jnana yoga, generally they are sannyasis, not necessarily. There are people like Janaka, there are people like Ramana Maharshi in recent times. So, not necessarily sannyasis, but those who are taken to jnana marga exclusively, for them no karmas will bind, no karmas are to be undertaken by them. So, they are out of this discussion. That Shankara has made extremely clear by resorting to various points of view. So now, the point being made is, for karma yogis, what is the progress? How do you start? How do you progress? Yajnadana tapakarma natyajyam karyameva tat. In one simple sentence, he has summarized his view. What is his view? Yajna, dana, and tapas. These three karmas, natyajyam, they are not to be abandoned. We have seen why Bhagavan chose these three. Yajna, or whatever takes us closer to Bhagavan, is definitely to be done. Dana, whatever takes us away from the bondage of samsara, particularly our attachment to possessions. That is dana. So that should be done. Tapas, for doing these both, yajna and dana, you would need disciplining the body and the mind. That is tapas. So these three are essential for making progress in the spiritual path, even when you are a karma yogi, even when you cannot abandon karmas, you have to do karmas because that is your nature. That he is also going to explain in detail in the future slokas. So tat karyameva, these three are to be done. Karyameva, they are to be done. Natyajyam, not to be abandoned. Karyameva, they are to be done. Why? Reason he is giving. Yajnodhanam tapaschaiva pavanani manishina. Manishina, even for those who are best among manushyas. Forget about ordinary people. Even for those who are best among men, even for them, these three, yajna, dana, and tapas, are purifying agents, pavanani. So, chitta shuddhi is the first step in jnana marga. So, you are not qualified to go to jnana marga at this point of time. So, you have to make yourself qualified. Ultimately, jnana is the requirement for moksha. Jnana is the ultimate requirement for moksha. To attain jnana, you have taken to the path of karma, well and good. But the first step in jnana marga, purifying the mind, can be accomplished by these three karmas. Yajnodhanam tapaschaiva. So, purifying agents. Pavanani manishinam. Vishuddhikaranani. Phalanabhisandhinam. Phalanabhisandhinam. Even those who are not attached to the fruit of the karma, even for them, there is still impurity left in their minds. So that impurity has to be taken off, removed. So, phala anabhisandhinam vishuddhikaranani ittetat. यज्ञदानतपःकर्म न त्याज्यं कार्यमेव तत् यज्ञोदानं तपश्चैव पावनानि मनीषिणा. Yes.
एतान्यपि तु कर्माणि सङ्गं त्यक्त्वा फलानि च कर्तव्यानीति मे पार्थ निश्चितं मतमुत्तमम्।
निश्चितं मतम उत्तमम। हे पार्थ, मे निश्चितं मतम उत्तमम मतम। निश्चितं मतम उत्तमम। This is my final view. Nishchitam matam. Uttamam matam. This is the best view. This is the best view. This is my final view. What? Even these karmas, etanyapitu karmani, which karmas? Yajna, dana, and tapas. He is not talking about other karmas because you are not supposed to do those karmas unless they are bare essentials. Unless they are bare essentials for sustaining your body, you are not supposed to engage in karmas other than yajna, dana, and tapas. So, even these karmas, when you do these karmas, sangam tyaktva phalanicha, sangam tyaktva phalanicha tyaktva. Attachment to the karma and attachment to the fruits of the karma, both should be abandoned, relinquished. Attachment to the karma, that means you develop a certain attachment to certain karmas. Without those karmas, you cannot be at peace. That should not be the case. Even if they are yajna, dana, and tapas. They are not, attachment should not be developed to those karmas. It doesn't mean that you do those karmas without shraddha. As long as you do the karmas, you should do them with shraddha. Shraddha has been emphasized repeatedly. But shraddha does not mean attachment. Shraddha is different from attachment. When you do the karma, do it shraddha. After you have completed the karma, forget about it. Do not think about it. Sangam tyaktva. Phalani cha. Question of expecting the fruits doesn't arise at all because you have dropped your attachment itself to the karma. When you don't own your karma, you can't expect the fruit of the ownership of someone else, isn't it? Some other property owned by somebody, you don't expect the fruit. That should be your attitude. As long as you do not own your karma, you don't expect the fruit. So all attachment to the karma, all attachment to the fruit should be completely relinquished. Kartavyani iti. Why then you should do this? You don't want to own the karma, you don't want to enjoy the fruit of the karma. Why to do that karma? They have to be done because they are the purifying agent. Kartavyani iti. They have to be done. That is the attitude. There is no escape from doing them. There is no escape. So I do. But I don't want to develop attachment. So this has been emphasized repeatedly throughout the various earlier chapters. Now this chapter being the summary of all that has been said in the previous chapters, including the summary of the Upanishads, as Shankara was at pains to inform us at the beginning of this chapter. Bhagavan is drawing our attention to all the important points. Kartavyani iti. They have to be done. There is no escape. सासङ्गस्य फलार्थिनः बन्धहेतवः एतानि अपि कर्माणि मुमुक्षोः कर्तव्यानि. For the one who has attachment, these fruits are going to engage him in bondage. Bandhahetavaha. The fruits of the karmas will result in bondage for one who has attachment. So that is the attachment was first mentioned, sangam. Mumukshoho kartavyani etani api, even though they are having the tendency to bind, in the case of those who are having attachment, for the one who is mumukshu, for the one who is expecting moksha, desires moksha, for him, these have to be done only because you have impurity. You have to get them off. Iti api shabdasya arthaha. That is why that api has been used. Etani api to karma. Even these karmas, that even because they have to be done. Kartavyani. एतान्यपि तु कर्माणि सङ्गं त्यक्त्वा फलानि च कर्तव्यानीति मे पार्थ निश्चितं मतमुत्तमम्. Next.
नियतस्य तु सन्न्यासः कर्मणो नोपपद्यते मोहात् तस्य परित्यागः तामसः परिकीर्तितः.
What about abandoning all karmas? Now he is taking up that subject, that alternative, that view expressed by some opponents. You are putting a cross, don't expect attachment, don't expect food. Why to do that karma at all? Forget about doing the karma. Though he has mentioned they are required for purification, but he is now Tyagaha Trividaha Smritaha, he said, isn't it? That relinquishing the karma or the fruit of the karma is threefold, he said. Now he is taking up those threefold karmas, threefold tyagas, Sattvika, Rajasa, and Tamasa. So Tamasa he has taken up first. Niyatasya tu sannyasah karmanah na upapadyate. Here he is using the word sannyasah, where he was using the word tyaga before. So he is using them as parallels in this context. Tyagaha trividha smritaha, he said. Now he is talking about sannyasa, but the meaning is the same. Niyatasya tu sannyasah, abandoning karmas which are compulsory, niyataha, obligatory, not doing those karmas. Netasya karmanaha sanyasaha. Na upapadyate. It is not correct. It is not reasonable. It is not correct. It is not reasonable. Na upapadyate. Well, if you do that, moha tasya parityagaha. If you abandon those karmas out of delusion, because the only way you will abandon those karmas is out of delusion. What is the delusion? Delusion is these karmas are going to bind me. So I better abandon these karmas. That is the delusion. They are not going to bind you as long as you don't own the karmas, you don't own the fruits, and you do them with Shraddha for purification of the mind, then no bondage. So that is the delusion. This delusion leads you to abandon the karmas. Tasya parityagaha mohat, because of delusion, you abandon those karmas, and if you do that, that abandonment is called tamasa. Tamasaha parikirtitaha. That is well known to be tamasa tyaga. Now, upapadyate, he said, it is not correct, it is not agreeable, he said. Why? Bhagavan Shankara is explaining. Ajnasya pavanatvasya ishtatvad. Even when you are ajna, even when you are ajnani, even when you are ignorant, your aim is to purify your mind, because nobody wants to get on with an impure mind and expect moksha. You may be ignorant, but you want moksha, isn't it? You are ignorant of what? You are ignorant of the Paramatma Tattva. You don't recognize Paramatma Tattva in a proper manner. That is your ignorance, because you are bound by samsara. That is the problem. So that problem can be overcome only when you purify the mind. For purification of mind, this is the step. So if you do not follow this step, that is due to delusion. So that is not correct. Ajnasya pavanatvasya ishtatvat. Even when you are ignorant, you need purification. You desire purification. Ishtatvat. It is your ishta. You desire purification. नयतस्य तु संन्यासः कर्मणो नोपपद्यते मोहात् तस्य परित्यागः तामसः परिकीर्तितः.
दुःखमित्येव यत्कर्म कायक्लेशभ्य भयात्यजेत् स कृत्वा राजसं त्यागं नैव त्यागफलं लभेत्.
Now, Rajasa Tyaga. Tamasa Tyaga, we have just seen. What is Rajasa Tyaga? Dukkhamiti eva yat karma kaya klesha bhayat tyajete. The first one, Tamasa person abandoned karmas because of delusion. Now this Rajasa Tyaga man also abandoned the same karmas, but for a different reason. That reason was delusion. Here, the reason is not delusion. This is, in a way, even worse than that. If you're deluded, at least there is a chance you will come out of the delusion. Here you are not deluded. That means you know the correct step. You know yajna, dana, and tapas are must for purifying the mind. And without purification of mind, you cannot advance. You know all this. But you don't still want to do those karmas. Why? Reason he is giving. Dukkhamiti eva. This karma is troublesome. Is miserable. Kaya klesha bhayat. It it implies torturing the body. Kaya klesha. It implies torturing the body. That fear of torturing the body, resulting in misery of the mind, dukkham. Dukkham refers to the mind, kaya klesha refers to the body. So, body is subjected to torture when you go through yajna, dana, and tapas. And because of that, mind is also, because mind has been trained to be attached to the body. The whole purpose is to purify the mind. That has not happened so far. So, because of that reason, the mind is also suffering. Because mind is suffering, I don't want to do that karma. Why should I do this karma which results in torturing the body, which results in misery in the mind? So I abandon dukkhamiti eva because of that reason, eva, only because of that. Yat karma, whichever karma, kaya klesha bhayat tyajayat. You are abandoning because of fear of torturing the mind, the body. Sakritva rajasam tyagam naiva tyaga phalam labhet. Saha, this man who is doing this rajasa tyaga, rajasam tyagam kritva. This tyaga is defined as rajasa tyaga. He has abandoned the karmas because of this reason. So it is rajasa tyaga. Naiva tyaga phalam labhet. Here he is giving a very important point. Because for sannyasis, jnanamargis, they have already abandoned the karma. For them, abandoning the karma has never been objected. So there it is useful. So will this man also get that benefit? No, definitely not, because they have purified their minds and then they abandoned the karma. You have not purified your mind. You have, in fact, tied your mind to the body. So you are worried about the misery in the mind caused by torture of the body. So nowhere you are near purification. So don't compare yourself to those sannyasis who have abandoned the karmas. So naiva tyaga phalam labhete. ज्ञानपूर्वकस्य सर्वकर्मत्यागस्य फलं मोक्षाख्यं न लभेत. सर्वकर्मफलत्याग, सर्वकर्मत्याग, not phala, सर्वकर्मत्याग, abandoning all karmas, ज्ञानपूर्वकस्य, with jnana, you are doing with jnana, and then you abandon all the karma. In fact, you don't abandon the karmas, karmas leave you. You cannot do those karmas. That is the state of the jnani. That has been described earlier also. It is going to be mentioned again in this chapter. Jnani does not abandon karmas. Karmas abandon him. So, sarva karmatyagasya jnana purvakasya. Because he has attained jnana, he drops the karmas. And he is eligible for moksha. Phalam mokshakhyam na labhet. This man is not going to get that. So here, this is the position of Arjuna. In fact, this shloka is a reference to Arjuna's mental state. Arjuna is not a Kamasatyaga person, he is a Rajasatyaga person. He knows what is correct, but he still doesn't want to do because he doesn't want to engage in fighting Bhishma, Drona and others, which cause misery to the mind. This is the problem. He is not doing his duty. So, he wants to relinquish his duty and take to Bhikshatana, the sannyasi way of life, for which he is not qualified. So, abandoning the karma, which is expected of him, will not lead him to the fruit of the sannyasi. So, this sloka exactly applies to Arjuna's present condition, applies to many other similarly placed people. दुःखमित्येव यत्कर्म कायक्लेशभयात् त्यजेत् सकृत्वा राजसं त्यागं नैव त्यागफलं लभेत्.
कार्यमित्येव यत्कर्म नियतं क्रियते अर्जुन सङ्गं त्यक्त्वा फलं चैव सत्यागः सात्विको मतः.
Now, Satvika Tyaga. Obviously, they don't abandon karmas, they do karmas. Karyamityeva yat karma. They have to be done. Kartavyani iti he said in the previous sloka. So same he is repeating. Karyamityeva. These karmas have to be done. No question of not doing them. It is required for my shreyas, for my advancement. So I must do it with all enthusiasm. Karyamityeva. Yat karma niyatam kriyate Arjuna. Yat niyatam karma. Whichever karma has been stipulated in the Shastras. All those karmas have to be done by me for purification of mind. Hey Arjuna, if this is the case, when you do those karmas, Sangam Tyaktva Phalanchaiva, when you do those karmas, drop your attachment to the karmas, drop the attachment to the fruit. If that is your tyaga, that tyaga is Satvika tyaga, Satyaga, Satviko Mata. यद्यपि फलं न श्रूयते नित्यस्य कर्मणः तथापि नित्यं कर्म कृतम् आत्मसंस्कार प्रत्यवाय परिहारं वा फलं करोति आत्मनः इति कल्पयति एव अज्ञः. Here Shankara is going into technical detail of the meaning of relinquishing the fruit of the karma. That is, even the ignorant man, ajnaha, even the ignorant man expects a certain fruit. What is the fruit he is expecting? He may not expect the fruit mentioned in Shastra. If you do this yajna, you will go to Swarga, etc., etc. You will get santati, progeny, this, that, you will get wealth. All those he may not look for, but he may look for something else. Nityasya karmanaha, even nitya karma, yajnadana, tapas, as nitya karma he has taken, as stipulated karma, आत्मसंस्कारं प्रत्यवाय परिहारं वा फलं करोति आत्मनः इति कल्पयति एव अज्ञः. He thinks, the ajna, the ignorant man thinks, आत्मसंस्कारं, purification of the mind, pratyavaya pariharam. If I don't do this karma, maybe some sin will attach to me. Pratyavaya pariharam. If I don't do these karmas, some sin will attach to me. So that because of that, I will do this karma. If that is the attitude, that attitude is not correct. That attitude should be dropped. If your tyaga has to be qualified as sattvika, do not think of all these aspects. That is, this will result in purification of mind. It will result, but you don't have to expect it. Even that expectation should be dropped. Similarly, if I don't do this karma, some sin will attach to me. Do not think of it. Because anyway you are doing the karma. तत्र तामपि कल्पनां निवारयति फलं त्यक्त्वा इत्यनेन तामपि कल्पनां निवारयति. Even this idea is dropped if you want to qualify yourself as सात्विका त्यागी. अतः साधु उक्तं संगं त्यक्त्वा फलं त्यजति. सः त्यागः नित्यकर्मसु संगफलपरित्यागः सात्विकः मतः अभिप्रेतः. सात्विकः मतः. मतः he says, this is my view, Bhagavan view. This is Satvika Tyaga, that is my view. If you drop your attachment, ownership of the karma, attachment to the karma, attachment to the fruit, and do it with all enthusiasm because they have to be done, then without expecting any fruit, even the fruit of purification, it will result automatically. Bhagavan is not going to take away any fruit. For that matter, even those mundane fruits, like wealth, like progeny, etc., will definitely come to you. In fact, you should not get distracted by those fruits. In fact, those fruits may come as a distraction to you on your spiritual path. Shastra is repeatedly saying it. Because Bhagavan never denies anybody of any fruit. All fruits will definitely come to you. The only point being made is do not expect that fruit. Not that fruit will not come. Bhagavan never says fruit will never come to you. He never says that. So, this type of tyaga is what is mentioned in our Shastras, particularly in this very familiar Veda Vakya. Na karmana na prajaya dhanena tyagena eke amritattvamanashuhu. Na karmana na prajaya dhanena. With these tools, that is, by doing karma, with the help of santati, progeny, with the help of wealth, I will get moksha. No, you will not get moksha. You will get moksha only with tyaga. Na karmana, na prajayasane, tyagena eke amritattvamanasho, tyagena, only with tyaga. Eke, a few, because it's not a easy path. So, a few people have achieved tyaga, achieved moksha. Because you have to be encouraged to do this path. So Veda says it clearly. You are not the first man. Many people have traveled this route and have attained moksha. But they are few. कार्यमित्येव यत्कर्म नियतं क्रियते अर्जुन सङ्गं त्यक्त्वा फलं चैव सत्यागः सात्विको मतः
न द्वेष्ट्यकुशलं कर्म कुशलेनानुषज्यते त्यागी सत्त्वसमाविष्टः मेधावी छिन्नसंशयः.
Now he is going into, because he is now, this is the closing chapter. He wants to summarize all that he has said earlier. And he wants to make it precise and without leaving any important guidelines. So he is going through the various steps that this aspirant has to go through. Well, now he has defined the three types of tyaga. Obviously, you have to go to sattvika tyaga. That means you will not own any karma, you will not own any attachment to any karma fruit. So you are doing the karma because they have to be done for purification of mind. Now, while doing the karmas, what is your attitude? Now, this attitude is being taken up in a few slokas because it is this attitude which is finally going to determine your advancement. It is only the attitude, not anything else. It's only the attitude which is going to determine the advancement in the spiritual path. If you adopt the right attitude, you will advance fast, very fast. You can attain mukti even when you are holding the body, Jeevan Muktaha. So, he is coming to that point. So, he is going through those pitfalls which you should avoid and those guideposts which you should follow. Nadveshti akushalam karma, kushalena anushajyate. You don't hate akushalam karma, akushalam ashobhana. That means inauspicious. Some karmas may appear inauspicious from mundane point of view, but they may be required to be done. So they may fall to your lot. Whatever karma falls to your lot at that particular time. So we're not talking only about spiritual karma. There are mundane karmas also, because you're still holding your body. Mundane karmas also will come to you. So don't take a balanced attitude towards all karmas. Don't start liking some karmas, don't start hating some karmas. So ashobhanam karma, inauspicious karma, akushalam. Nadveshti, he does not hate. Kushalena anushajyate, on the other hand, when something auspicious happens, somebody invites you for listening to a lecture on Srimad Bhagavatam or taking part in Parayanam of Srimad Bhagavatam. Oh, that is beautiful, very auspicious. Okay, it is auspicious, no doubt. But don't get attached to that. Attachment means tomorrow if you don't get invited, you will feel sorry. If you are not able to go for some reason, you will feel sorry. That should not happen because you are doing something else which is equally important. Kushalena anushajyate. Shobhane nityakarmani sattva-siddhi jnanotpatti tannishta hetutvena moksha karanam idam ityevam na anushajyate na pritim karoti. This karma will lead to purification of mind. This karma will lead to jnanotpatti, rise of jnana, tannishta hetutvena, and enable me to sustain in that possession of jnana. So I like this karma. That don't take this attitude. This is the attitude which will normally come to you. That's why he is explaining this attitude in detail. Shankara is explaining. So don't do that. यस्तु अधिकृतः संगम त्यक्त्वा फलाभिसन्धिं च नित्यं कर्म करोति तस्य फलरागादिना अकुरुषीक्रियमाणम् अन्तःकरणं नित्यैश्च कर्मभिः संस्क्रियमाणं विशुध्यति. One, Shankara is explaining in detail, one who does these karmas without any attachment and without any fruit, sangam phala, for him, phalaragadina akurushikriyamana, because he does not suffer from the impurity of attachment to the fruit. Attachment to the fruit is the first impurity that he has got rid of. So he is going to get purified. Samskriyamanam vishuddhati. Tat vishuddham prasannam atmalochanakshamam bhavati. Once that mind becomes purified, that purified mind is capable of concentrating on Atma Vichara. Atma Alochanakshamam bhavati. तस्य एव नित्यकर्मानुष्ठानेन विशुद्धान्तःकरणस्य आत्मज्ञान अभिमुखस्य क्रमेण यथा तन्निष्ठा स्यात् तद्वक्तव्यम्. Nityakarmanushtanena, this yajna, tapas, etc., and whatever are nityakarmas prescribed by shastras. And I am doing with full purity of mind, not expecting anything. Vishuddhantakarnasya. Atmajnana abhimukhasya. My mind is gradually getting focused towards Atmajnana. I don't care for anything else. My care is only for Atmajnana. Kramena, gradually. This will happen gradually. Yatha tannishtha syate. Finally, you will reach that goal. That is being explained in these slokas. त्यागी सत्त्वसमाविष्टः मेधावी छिन्न संशयः. How is it possible that a man does not hate inauspicious karma, does not develop liking for auspicious karma? He said, don't do this. Is it possible? Is it common? That question is being answered now. Sattva-samavishtaha. Yada satvene atmanatma viveka vijnana hetuna samavishtaha. You have to develop simultaneously the first step in Jnana Marga. What is the first step? Viveka Vairagya. So Viveka, what is Viveka? Atmanatma Viveka Vijnana Hetuna. What is Atma? What is Anatma? If your mind is very clear, naturally nothing is inauspicious, nothing is auspicious. For Atma always is auspicious. Everything is leading to Atma. So nothing which is false, nothing which falls to my lot as karma can be treated as inauspicious. Everything is auspicious because everything is, I am looking at everything as a step towards Atmajnana. So that is your attitude. Atmanatma Viveka Vijnana Hetuna Samavishtaha Samyuktaha. That is Sattva Samavishtaha. Sattva Samavishtaha means your mind is always engaged in Atma, Anatma, Viveka Vijnana. Then Medhavi. Medhaya Atmajnana Lakshanaya Pragyaya Samyuktaha. Medhavi does not mean very proficient in our mundane subjects. He is a Medhavi in physics. We are not talking about such Medhavis. Medhavi here, Atmajnana Lakshanaya Pragyaya Samyuktaha. The one who is endowed with that consciousness of Atmajnana. He is ever thinking of Atma only, not about mundane matters. He is Medhavi. What is Medha? Medha means capacity to retain. So he is retaining Atmajnana. That is how he is called Medhavi. Chinna samshayaha. While retaining, there could be doubts whether I am doing the right thing or whether I am doing a wrong thing. So those doubts should be cleared. You should be rid of all doubts. Why these doubts come? Doubts come because of avidya. Avidya kritaha samshayaha. Yasya. Atmaswarupa avasthanameva param nishreyasa sadhanam na anyate kinchit. My goal is only Atmajnana. Na anyate kinchit, nothing else. My goal is only Atmajnana. So on that I am very clear. Nishchita bhava is there in me. So I have no doubts. Though doubts come only to those who have other attractions in between. Those are the doubts. So I don't have any doubts. यः अधिकृतः पुरुषः पूर्वोक्तेन प्रकारेण कर्मयोग अनुष्ठानेन क्रमेण संस्कृतात्मादन् जन्मादि विक्रियारहितत्वेन निष्क्रियम् आत्मानम् आत्मत्वेन सम्बुद्धः. Shankara is summarizing in this context. This man who has taken to Karma Yoga by following the steps mentioned earlier, he is gradually purifying his mind, Kramena Samskritatma. He wants to reach Atma, which is Nishkriya. But that is going to come in the next few slokas. Once you have reached Atma, no karma. Because Atma does not recognize any karma. Atma is without karma. So Nishkriya. So, what is the Kriya? Janmadi Vikriya Rahitatvena. Kriya like taking birth, indulging in mundane matters. Those Kriyas are going to go away once you have reached the goal, Atma. So, but you have that prajna, that consciousness. So, all karmas you have abandoned mentally, you have abandoned physically, that stage will come to you later on. Sarva karmani manasa sanyate naiva kurvanna na karayan asina naishkarmya lakshanam jnana nishtam asnute. He will finally reach that jnana where karma will drop. पूर्वोक्तस्य कर्मयोगस्य प्रयोजनम् अनेनैव श्लोकेन उक्तम्. This has been mentioned while talking about Karma Yoga in chapter 3. In this one shloka, Bhagavan is clarifying that point according to Shankara. Anenaiva shlokena prayojanam uktam Karma Yogasya prayojanam. Srimad Bhagavatam has got this advice to us. दोषबुद्ध्या उभयातीतो निषेधान्न निवर्तते गुणबुद्ध्या च विहितं न करोति यथार्भकः. This man, Karma Yogi, who is proceeding on this path, whatever we are discussing, that man, Ubhaya Atitaha, he has crossed Dosha Buddhi as well as Guna Buddhi. Something is, because he said, na, Kushalam, Akushalam. So, something is good, something is bad, something is auspicious, something is not auspicious. That this kind of binary he has crossed. Ubhayatitaha dosha buddhya nishedhat na nivartate. Because something is faulty, I will not do this. That will not be his attitude. Guna buddhya cha vihitam na karoti yatharthakaha. Guna buddhya cha vihitam. This is good for me, so I will do it. This is bad for me, so I will not do it. This attitude he has dropped. Nakaroti yatha ardhakaha. He is giving the example of a child. A child does not recognize something good, something bad. He does whatever comes to him. Similarly, you will become a child. In fact, jnanis are equated with children very often. That is what the shloka also does. Like a mirror reflecting objects which are beautiful, which are ugly. Mirror does not bother about whether it is reflecting a beautiful object or an ugly object without undergoing any change. Mirror doesn't undergo any change. Tyagi should be that kind of that kind of person. Tadveshtya kushalam karma kushalena tyagi sattva samavishto medhavi chinna samshayaha.
न हि देहभृता शक्यं त्यक्तुं कर्माण्यशेषतः यस्तु कर्मफलत्यागी सत्यागीत्यभिधीयते.
Now he is taking up this question again. This question which is always put to us. Which question? Why to do this karma at all? I will as well concentrate on my spiritual practice. Because that, in fact, that seems to be the trend nowadays also. There are classes on yoga, classes on dhyana, this, that, jnana marga, etc., etc. When you are not qualified to enter that class, people are taking you to those classes. So, you should first purify your mind by doing the karma, because Shastra is very clear. Nitya karma, naimittika karma, or must. Kamya karmas are not a must. You can abandon kamya karmas. Nitya karma, naimittika karma, including yajna, dana, and tapas. Tapas includes actually nitya karma, naimittika karma. That is how you discipline your mind. What is nitya karma, naimittika karma? Only for disciplining the mind and the body. So then you will be qualified for doing yajna and dana. So that is the basis of this attitude. So that you must do this karma with this attitude. That is what he is now coming back to the subject. Nahi deha bhrita shakyam tyaktam karmani ashayashataha. Deha bhritaha, those who possess the body. Jnani also possesses the body. When Bhagavan says deha bhrita, does he talk about the jnani? No, not at all. He is talking about karma yogis. Why? Because this man has deha abhimana, deha bhrita, deham vivarti iti deha bhrita, dehatma abhimanavan deha bhrita uchyate. Shankara explains. Because he has body consciousness. He likes his body. He has attachment to the body. Still, that is why he is deha bhrita. That man, jnani, does not know that he has a body. He doesn't bother about his body. Like Ramana Maharshi behaved during the operation of sarcoma in his hand. Very painful operation, very painful post-operative effects. He never bothered. He was smiling and talking. He was talking to that wound itself. There are reports like that. That is the jnani status. So you cannot compare yourself to him. Nahi deha bhrata shakyam tattam karmani asheshataha. Asheshataha karmani tattam. I will leave all karmas. No karma to be included. Asheshataha, with nothing balanced. All karmas I will leave, I will abandon. That you cannot do. Na shakyam. That is not possible because you have attachment to your deha, to your body. यस्तु कर्मफल त्यागी सत्यागेत्यभिधीयते देहात्माभिमानित्वेन देहभृत् अज्ञः अबाधित आत्मकर्तृत्व अविज्ञानतया अहं कर्ता इति निश्चितबुद्धिः. Because still thinks that Atma is the doer. I am the doer. He does not know that Indriyas are the doers, body is the doer, mind is the doer. But he doesn't think. He has not come to that state. So, aham karta iti nishchita buddhi. I am the doer. That attitude he has got. Till he has that attitude, don't abandon the karma. Ashesha karma parityagasya ashakyatvat. Karmaparityagena chodita karmanusthane eva adhikaraha. You have right only to persist in the karmas. Only thing is, please abandon the fruit. That is the only thing. Sastya karma phalatyagi. Karma phalabhisandhi matra sannyasi. I have dropped all attachment only to the fruit, not the karma. Karma phalabhisandhi matra sannyasi. Saha tyagi iti abhidiyate. He is called tyagi. Well, what about the jnani? Is he not tyagi? It is tutya viprayena. In this context, he wants to extol the karma yogi who has abandoned his karma phala. So, he is using the word tyagi. Satyagi tyabhidiyate. He is called tyagi. Not that the other jnani is not a tyagi. Of course, a tyagi. But the context is this. तस्मात् परमार्थदर्शितेन एव अदेहभृता देहात्मभावरहितेन अशेषकर्मसन्न्यासः शक्यते कर्तुम्. Only who has seen the Paramatma, one who has abandoned all body consciousness, he only can drop karmas, not you. Nahi deha bhrita shakyam tyaktum karmanyasheshatah yastu karma phalatyagi satyagi vidhiyate.
अनिष्टमिष्टं मिश्रं च त्रिविधं कर्मणः फलं भवत्यत्यागिनां प्रेत्य न तु सन्न्यासिनां क्वचित्.
Now he is going into the technicalities of karma, because karma is the subject, isn't it? Don't abandon karma. Abandon only your attachment to the fruit. That is the advice. Now, when actually doing the karma, now he is going into technicalities, details. See, normally, even in mundane subjects, a principle is established, then you go into details of working on that principle. How this principle is proven, what are the objections to the principles. One theorem is established, then what are the objections to that? How the theorem is derived. So, like that, here also, he has established a principle. Now, there will be difficulties in the path. So, all those difficulties he is enumerating and he is giving solutions. That is why Bhagavad Gita is also a manual of moksha, moksha marga, not simply announcing only the goals. The path is also described in detail. Now, when you do a karma, there are three types of fruits. Anishtam, ishtam, mishram, cha, trividham, karmana, phalam. This, of course, all of us will understand because we are going through that. Any karma will result in a threefold fruit. One is anishtam, second is ishtam, third is mishram. That means the fruit is agreeable to you, ishtam. The fruit is not at all agreeable to you, anishtam. Mishram, it has both agreeable and disagreeable aspects. In fact, that is the common thing. When you do a karma, you get a fruit. Do you like that fruit? Yes, I like it partly. Don't like that fruit? Yes, I don't like it partly. This is our attitude. Most karmas. You never say, yes, that karma has given me 100% satisfactory fruit. This karma has given me 100% unsatisfactory fruit. You don't say that. So Mishram is a common thing. So even that Bhagavan has taken pains to include. So he says these are the only three types of fruits. Of course, he has told us not to think about the fruits. But since we are in the stage of thinking about the fruits, he is going down to our level and explaining all that. Bhavati atyaginam pretye natu sannyasinam kvachit. This three types of fruit, to whom does it happen? It happens to atyagi, one who has not abandoned the fruit. Once you abandon the fruit, you don't bother whether it is agreeable or disagreeable or it is a mixture. You have abandoned the fruit, so whether it is agreeable or disagreeable or it is a mixture, that thought never comes to you. But it comes only to those who have not abandoned. Atyaginam, bhavati atyaginam pretya. After their death, pretya is after their death. That is, even after your death, this fruit travels with you. In fact, that is the major problem. That's the pretya word is used. Okay, when I am alive, I am going through that experience. No, even after your death, that experience is going to travel with you, resulting in your next birth. We have seen Jadabharata's case earlier. He developed attachment to a baby deer at the time of death, and he became a deer. Though he was the greatest jnani, he was eligible for moksha. He was going to get moksha. At the last step, he became a deer in his next birth. This is the pretya. After the death, whatever fruit you were thinking of, that happens, that comes to you. Whether it is ishta, whether it is anishta, whether it is mishra. It has to be one of the three. Natu sannyasinam kvachit. It never happens to the one who has renounced the karma, renounced the fruit of the karma. Once you have renounced the fruit of the karma, this question doesn't arise. It doesn't follow you after your death, whether it is ishta or anishta or mishra. This ishta, anishta, mishra terms are applicable before jnana comes to you, when you are in the developing stage. After jnana comes, there is nothing like anishta, ishta, or mishra. You have no such view at all. So here also, tyaga and sannyasa terms are used as parallels in this shloka itself. Bhavati atyaginam jaga. Sannyasinam na. Not for sannyasi, not for those who have relinquished the fruit of the karma. Anishtam naraka tiryagadi lakshanam. Disagreeable fruit. Of course, he's talking about final fruits of karmas. The final fruit, disagreeable fruit is what? Oh, I may go to Naraka, etc. Or I may become an animal, Tiryagadi. Ishtam Devadi Lakshanam. What is the agreeable fruit? I may become a Deva. Mishram, Ishtanishtakam Yuktam Manushya Lakshanam. It has elements of both Ishta and Ishta, that is human birth. So I may become a Deva, I may become a man, I may become an animal, I may go to Naraka. This is Anishtam, Ishtam, Mishram. These are the fruits of the karmas. धर्माधर्मलक्षणस्य फलं बाह्य अनेककारकव्यापारनिष्पन्नम्. There are many aspects which will lead to this fruit. While doing the karma, there are many stages which will lead to this fruit, which are falling under the category of dharma or which are falling under the category of adharma. Even when you are doing a karma, don't do this, do this. There are do's and don'ts. Avidyakritam indrajala mayopamam mahamohakaram pratyakatmopasarpiyiva. Oh, Shankara goes into detail on explaining what is the fruit, palam. That fruit is like Indrajala. It is like a magician's world. It is not at all real. Whether it is Naraka, whether it is human birth, why are you worried? It is all make believe. Moha mohakaram. Very delusive. And it is taking you away from Atmajnana. Phalgutaya layam adarshanam gacchati iti phala nirvachanam. The word phala itself, how it is derived. The derivation of the word phala. Word phala has got only two letters, phala, and for that he is giving a derivation. Phalgutaya layam adarshanam gacchati iti. It is very minor, phalgutaya. Very minor, very small. What is very small? That fruit. Layam adarshanam gacchati. That fruit is so small that I cannot even see it. It is invisible. That is the phalam. The word phalam itself means that whatever you are considering as a fruit, oh, that is fruit, that big one. It is not big, it is very small, it is invisible. That is the meaning of the word phalam. And you are attached to that phalam, that invisible fruit. That is how Shankara is explaining very nicely. Phalgutaya layam adarshanam gacchati iti phala nirvachanam. तत् एवं लक्षणं फलं भवति अत्यागिनाम् अज्ञानां कर्मिणाम् अपरमार्थसन्न्यासिनां प्रेत्य शरीरपातात् ऊर्ध्वम्. After the dropping of the body, this happens to karma yogis who have not realized the paramartha. न तु सन्न्यासिनां परमार्थसन्न्यासिनां परमहंस परिव्राजकानां केवलज्ञाननिष्ठानां क्वचित्. At no time this will happen to Paramahamsa Parivrajaka who has Paramartha Sannyasinam. They have abandoned everything and they have taken to Paramartha. Nahi Kevala Samyak Darshananishta Avidyadi Samsara Bijam Cha Unammolayati Kadachite. Only knowledge of the goal is not enough. That is not going to be qualifying you for dropping the karmas. That Shankara is making it very clear. Why? Avidya adhyaropitatvat atmani kriyakaraka phala. Because you are still suffering from avidya. You are still thinking that Atma is the doer. You are not knowing that Indriyas and body is the mind is the doer. Nato ajnasya adhishtanagini kriyakarta karakani atmatvena pashyataka ashesha karma sannyasaka sambhavati. Because whatever karmas, kartrutva, the doership, is still being attached to himself. I am not the doer. That sense has not still come to him. So there is no question of his dropping the karmas. So he will go through the fruits. That is the point being made by Shankara in detail. I have picked up a couple of shlokas from Vedi Shataka. Patitopi karaghataihi utpatatyeva gandukaha prayena sadhu vrittanam asthayanyo vipattayaha. Those who are sadhus, those who are virtuous, For them, their attitude is being likened to a ball, kanduka. Now this ball, paraghataihi patitaha api utpatati eva. When you tap the ball towards the ground, it comes up again, isn't it? When you tap the rubber ball, you take. In those days, perhaps there was no rubber ball, so he is saying Sutra Gandukaha. There was a similar ball made of vines. So he says, now let us take a rubber ball because it's easy for us to understand. The rubber ball you hit against the ground, it comes up immediately. Utpatati eva, even when it is dropped on the ground, patitaha api, it comes up. Similarly, sadhuvrittanam vipatteha asthayinyaha, for those who are virtuous, their dangers are temporary. They will never face permanent dangers because they are virtual. प्रायः कन्दुकपातेन पतत्यार्यः पतन्नपि तथा त्वनार्यः पतति मृत्पिण्डपतनं यथा. Same thought is being explained further. Like the dropping of the ball, even when the virtuous man falls down means his fortune declines, his wealth declines, his mundane possessions decline, he goes through suffering. That is what it means. Patannati. Even then, he doesn't fall. Na patati. His mental state, there is no difference because he has developed equanimity. Tatha tvanarya patati mritpinda patanam yatha. If you make a ball out of clay, you drop it against the ground. What will happen? Will it come up? No. It may break or it may stay on the ground. So, mritpinda patanam, like that kind of ball, this anaryaha, this evil fellow who has not taken to virtue, he will, once he falls, he never comes up. So anyway, this is the idea of how to approach life, how to approach karma, how to develop virtue. अनिष्टमिष्टं मिश्रं च त्रिविधं कर्मण फलं भवत्यत्यागिनां प्रेत्य न तु सन्न्यासिनां क्वचित्. We stop for the day. We continue tomorrow morning at 7 AM IST, tomorrow Sunday. Any questions?
Anyone has any questions, kindly unmute and ask. Anyone has any questions? No more questions, sir.
Nowadays, questions have dropped. I think everybody has mastered Bhagavad Gita. I'm very happy.
You explain.
So we meet again tomorrow morning, 7 AM.
Thank you everyone for joining.